hell is even that?
Brainwashing comes in all shapes and forms. Forget about the mind-control sci-fi movies. It's happening all around you if you just open your eyes. And our first clip is a sad reminder to all of us that children are among the most common victims. As always, stick around to the end for the recap, this week's woke news, and much, much more.
Tell me why you're at Pride.
Because I'm transgender.
Do you want to share anything about your journey?
It was very tough.
Does your family make you feel supported?
Yes, a lot.
How old are you?
I am 7.
And how old were you when you discovered your identity?
I was 2 or 3 when I first noticed that I didn't feel comfortable with being a boy.
How did your child discover this identity? How did this come about?
So ever since she was little, she was always the princess, always. She sort of like every once in a while would mention ideas of like wanting to be a girl, of feeling more like a girl. And then she started asking to like socially transition about 1.5 years ago, and her school's been fantastic.
Your family, your friends, everyone like makes you feel supported and loved.
Except for my friends. I didn't tell them that yet.
Oh, wait, do you want to be on the internet talking about it then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope to be famous one day.
Now don't ask me why the mother's wearing a helmet, though one might guess she just doesn't want her brain to fall out a second time. And just look at how often the girl looks over to her mother before answering the questions, almost as if to seek approval first. She doesn't actually understand a word she's saying. And next up, we'll see grandma's not free from the brainwashing either. Take a listen.
How old are your granddaughters?
They are 6 and 8.
Would you support them to get hormone blockers to become the other gender?
I would absolutely support them to get hormone blockers. The idea of one of my granddaughters learning that they're going to start having their period if they don't get their hormones blocked, even though they're identifying and portraying as a male. How horrible that would be. So yes, definitely.
If your granddaughter came to you and wanted to get a tattoo, what would you say?
That would be more difficult. I always told my 3 sons the one thing I ask is please don't get tattoos.
Really? Why tattoos?
There's just something so permanent about it.
Permanent?
It's pretty permanent. It's very difficult to get them lasered off or removed.
You don't think it's like permanent to change your gender?
Exactly.
Now I hate to say it, but I guess age doesn't always equate to wisdom. And if you don't think there are lasting effects to changing your gender, then boy do I have news for you. With that being said, some folks not only believe changing genders has no lasting effects, but are also adamant that trans people are biologically identical to the sex they're transitioning into. Take a listen.
Okay, so this is gonna get a lot of people mad, but the harsh reality is that trans women are actually biologically women.
This is a load of barnacles.
I know it's like super shocking, but the most important sex determining organ in your body is actually your brain.
That's where you're wrong.
And there's a lot of research to show that trans women have brains that are very much in alignment with our gender identity.
Whatever, man.
Anybody who tries to call trans women biological males are coping and seething.
Wow. The land of make-believe.
Now for someone who places so much importance on the brain as a gender-defining organ, he's definitely not showing any signs of having one. I don't even know whether to call this brainwashing or good old ignorance, and I'd love to hear these highly credible research papers he's talking about. But speaking of credibility, here's one reporter who's sold out so bad, she can barely string one honest sentence together. Take a watch.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so
Sure.
I'm going to answer
Please
for
do.
you. In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? That's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No,
wait,
we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You
the
just
name of the
remembered
author
very
doesn't
specific names.
joy.
Here's my
We're
question.
talking about
Here's my question.
You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer your
Great.
question.
I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. Okay,
great.
So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book.
I don't have to
hold
be
on.
an expert
No,
to know
hold
that
on a second.
dildos aren't
One
appropriate
moment,
for public
one moment.
school. I mean, come
This
on, let's
book-
get real.
Now, I don't know why you have to be an expert on the book to know what should or shouldn't be considered appropriate reading material for children. You always know when a crazy liberal's losing an argument when they start beating around the bush and resorting to personal attacks. But let's face it, brainwashing in education is everywhere. You can even see it in the degrees that college students are starting to major in.
Hi, my name is Nikki. I'm studying Latin American women in visual culture.
Yeah! Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm studying the unseen body in creative spaces, erasure and exposure of the queer.
Yeah!
Hey, I'm Nina, and I studied the arts, education, and social justice.
Yeah! I'm Joyce. I study decolonial intimacies, indigenous politics of resistance.
Yeah! I'm Victoria, and I studied remembering or forgetting, navigating international conflict through collective memory. Yeah! Hi, I'm Iman, and I studied monstrosity, the subaltern praxis. Or should I say I created it? Yeah! Hi, I'm Nunyala. I'm studying living artfully, art as ritual, therapy, and pathways of decoloniality. Yeah! I'm Naomi, and I'm studying Black political economy. Yeah! I'm Natalie, and I'm studying fashion history and gender studies. Yeah! And I studied phenomenological approaches to Black womanhood, specifically. My name is Marie, and my concentration is the radical disruption for survival, development in sub-Saharan Africa, through social anthropology. Hi, I'm Kira, and I study textiles and environmental justice. Yeah! Hi, I'm invested in intersectionality of medicine, based on disparities in women's health. Yeah!
Hi, I'm Ava, and I study woman, fugitive family, relationships, and identity, the transformative Black woman!
It's not a real thing.
So just remember these faces. You'll be seeing them very soon at your local Starbucks, turning the tablet around to charge you a 20% tip. At first, I honestly thought this was satire, but I realized NYU actually has programs for you to major in ridiculous degrees like this. But just when you thought it couldn't get any more embarrassing for the next generation, we have this lunatic.
Suspicion to believe that I was a horse in a past life, so let's test it out and eat some egg. Mmm!
That's straw. We don't typically feed straw to horses.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the dad's off crying somewhere. 10 years ago, anyone who identified as a horse would most definitely find themselves in a mental asylum, and you have to ask what on earth did the parents do wrong here? But to wrap up today's videos, here are people's surprisingly mixed responses to the age-old question of who can get pregnant in 2024.
True or false? Only women get pregnant.
True.
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 Very true.
Absolutely true.
True or false? Only women get pregnant.
False. False. Because there are trans people that exist, and trans men can also be pregnant as well.
False.
And what are your pronouns?
They, them.
Now, something tells me the ratio of true to false answers will be a lot lower in a few years to come. It's clear science has left the minds of many of these folks, but I'm just glad there's still some people out there who aren't afraid to speak the truth on camera. And before we move on to the recap, I'm not sure how many of you remember a few years ago when Elon Musk famously spoke out about his communist transgender daughter. Basically, she severed ties with her billionaire father because, as Elon put it, she was infected by the woke mind virus and brainwashed into thinking anyone rich is evil, among many other things. This was actually one of the events that dominoed into Elon buying Twitter, and there's a lot more to unpack here. So Elon's daughter Vivian was sent to the Crossroads School for Arts and Sciences in Santa Monica, California. It was widely known that that school and plenty of other elite schools and liberal universities in California were being governed by neo-Marxists. And shortly after enrolling in the school, Vivian apparently cut all ties with her father over disagreements on things like pronouns, gender identities, and other woke issues. She even changed her legal name and gender on the day she turned 18 to remove any association between her and her father. And while there may be a lot more going on behind the scenes, I do think it's a common sight to see parents and children clashing over political views. I mentioned at the beginning that brainwashing comes in all shapes and forms. We've seen children get force-fed nonsense they don't understand, teenagers forced to study wildly inappropriate literature, college students majoring in the most useless and woke subjects, and all other sorts of other mindless behaviour. But one of the most concerning parts of it all is the divide I see between parents and children these days, especially when the parents aren't buying into the woke ideology. I don't know if any of you experience that divide with your own children, or notice it with your friends, but let me know in the comments. I think part of the brainwashing is teaching people to be ultra-sensitive to viewpoints that differ from what they've been taught, and to completely shut out anyone who might disagree with them. So if you don't like seeing a whole generation of people mindlessly consuming propaganda and turning into sheep, make sure to like and share this video. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.